If you're a business owner and you're absolutely tired of scrolling through YouTube trying to figure out how to fund your business, then this is the video for you. Because in this one, I'm going to go ahead and break down my 3-step strategy that I used to get over $500K in business funding. And I was able to accomplish this without any type of business credit or any net 30s. And if you're like I was back then, you're probably nervous, scared, or even getting denied walking into these banks. And there's a way to beat them at their own game. So let's head over to my computer and break everything down. All right, we are at my computer, and as you see here, the simple strategy to get endless funding inside your business. So this is a process that can be replicated over and over and over again once you get it down. And this is for people that may be new to the channel. Again, my name is LaJuan Hughes, and I'm not just some random dude on the internet. I've been doing this for a long time, been featured in a bunch of different publications like Market Watch, Digital Journal. I've been on the Modern Man podcast, 850 Club Credit, a bunch of different platforms talking about this omni growth strategy that we're going to be going over here today. And it's not just me as well. I just want to touch on this really quick, just so you guys know I'm not some type of unicorn or a one-hit wonder. This is work for multiple different people. This is my man Fareed here at the top left of the screen. His interview is actually on the channel if you want to check that out after you watch this video. He got 160K using this strategy. This is Lenore, somebody that's in our mentorship program. She was able to get 25K as soon as she hopped in. It was about like 24, 48 hours as soon as she joined. This is Sarah. She got, I think, about 60K in 30 days. My man Amari, he got 70K in 3 weeks. Jason, he got 60K in about under 2 weeks. So this strategy works really well, and it is actually very, very fast too as well. So the first question I get a lot of the times is, does my business qualify? And that's a very good question. So this strategy can work for a bunch of different businesses. We've got Airbnb, trucking, consulting, e-commerce, real estate, Turo, day traders, service-based businesses, event planning. Literally all businesses, any business that you have, this strategy can work for you. So I want to go ahead and touch on now what doesn't work anymore. What some of these old methods that people are still trying to do that are not as effective anymore. So the first one I want to go over is authorized users. Now, what I'm not saying is that authorized users don't work anymore at all. Now, what I am saying is that the way people are accustomed to them working in terms of trying to get funding for their business, that is not how it works anymore. And again, don't take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. This is straight from FICO themselves. Okay, so this is the average age of accounts, which is typically what people like to use authorized users for. If they have like a thin credit profile, anything like that, they'll get an authorized user with somebody that has maybe 20 years on that card and try to bump their average age up. So as we see right here, it says FICO scores consider the average age of all accounts being reported. Generally speaking, having a relatively long credit history and not opening many new accounts is reflective of a lower credit risk. Authorized user accounts aren't considered in the calculation of this attribute. All right, that's key. So you see, it's not just me saying this. This is exactly from FICO themselves saying this. So what does that mean? You cannot think authorized users are going to bump your average age of accounts up, which is important from you looking like you have a thin credit profile. Now, what authorized users still does, you will still get that kind of temporary boost in your credit score, but you won't get that, kind of average age of account bump that you're looking for. And underwriters don't even consider authorized users in their process as well. So it's just something to think about when you're trying to figure out, ways to maybe boost your average age of accounts. Building business credit. Now, this is a very common one that, a lot of people are still trying to do. And I'm not saying that business credit is not important or you don't need to have it. But however, if you maybe are a new business or you've already been in business and you're thinking, okay, I got to build up 3 to 6 months or 12 months, I got to get all these net 30s and all this stuff like that. That is not the case. And it takes long too. As we see here, it says while building a robust business credit report can take as long as 3 years, most new companies can achieve a top tier business credit score in 12 months. And this is from nav.com themselves, which is everybody's favorite business credit monitoring platform. It says building significant business credit right away is unlikely, as it takes usually at least 6 months to establish a credit history and demonstrate credit worthiness. So again, guys, you're seeing it right here. It's not just me saying this, is exactly from these people themselves saying, hey, this takes 6 to 12 months. So if you maybe don't have 6 to 12 months to wait and you want to do this faster, then keep watching, because there's a faster way to do this. And so here are some other common things that people are doing. It's just not a effective way to go ahead and get funding for your business. The third one is using your personal funds to try to fund your business. You definitely don't want to do that. That's kind of getting into like commingling funds, and that could put you in jeopardy of getting sued, things like that. And then 4, buying trade lines. A lot of people like to buy the authorized users, for example. People will buy them on like trade line supply, stuff like that. I just showed you guys why that is probably not a good idea to do too much anymore. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell for notifications so you will be notified every time I drop a new video. And next, we're going to go ahead and get into the first step in my 3-step process that I use to get 500K in business funding. So step 1 is a predictable, optimized funding report. This is very important. This is what you're going to need. Now, listen, long gone are the days when you can just go into the bank and sit down with the banker and just apply for funding. These days, banks have complex underwriting criteria, and unfortunately, they won't tell you their process. You're asking, okay, so what do I do, right? Let's go ahead and break it down. So I'm sure everybody has seen this before. This is the FICO pie chart, right? This is what breaks down your FICO score. Now, you may be wondering, okay, how? Well, the fastest way by far to go ahead and get business funding for your business is to leverage your personal credit. Now, a lot of times people, I don't want to use my personal credit. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, most banks, especially if you're thinking about going to these big banks or even the regional banks or the credit unions, guess what, guys? They're pulling your personal credit. Even for people that have established business credit scores or even have business revenue, they're still going to look at the personal credit. Now, one of the main sections I want to focus on really quick is the 35% section, okay? This is where you really want to focus in, okay? You don't want to have any type of late payments, and I'll circle back to this one in a second. The payment frequency. So you want to make sure that you got a lot of on-time payments, okay? Your payment amount, that kind of ties into your utilization, which we'll go over here in a second. And then collections and bankruptcies. This needs to be absolutely clean. So no collections, no charge-off, no BKs, which a BK will typically show up on your public records. Tax liens as well, that can be on your public records as well. You don't want any of those things on your credit report, guys. You want all that clean. Now, circling back to the late pays. If you have late pays, they're like in the 2-year kind of section, maybe they're 2 years, 3 years, 4 years old, you'll kind of be okay there. Is it better to have no late pays at all, 100%? But if you do have late pays that are past 2 years old, you will be okay in most situations. So now on to credit card utilization. This is the amounts owed section in that pie chart we just went over. So this is really important. A lot of times people get this wrong with their utilization. So they think when you hear, it needs to be under 20% or under 30% or under 10%, they think that's per card. No, that's total for your credit profile. Okay. So it's not just one card that needs to be under 10%. It's your entire credit profile. Okay. And also too, the number, it really needs to be under 10%, guys. I know a lot of times people will have that personal credit mindset and everybody's always been told it needs to be under 30%. No, it needs to be under 10% if you want to be in optimal position to get business funding. Now, let's go ahead and break this down a little bit. So we got card 1, we got card 2, and we got card 3. Okay, these are 3 different cards. Now, this is like a real life scenario too. This is how a lot of people's situation may be. So you may have a $150 balance on this $750 credit limit card, okay, which will have you at a 20% utilization for this one card. Now, card 2, you may have a $396 balance, and this card has a $1,200 max limit. So your utilization on this one card is 33%. And then card 3, a $300 balance with a $3K max limit. This card has a 10% utilization. Yeah, again, like I said, doesn't mean you just need to pay down all of these cards to just 10%. No, as we see here, our max limit, right? So that's adding all of these 3 cards up together is $4,950, right? And we have a total balance of $846. Guys, this is what you want to focus on right here is the totals, okay? So you want to add up all your cards, right? Put them together. And then you want to add up your balances and put them together too. And things, credit monitoring software is like Experian and My FICO will do this for you. But if you don't have those, this is kind of how you want to line this up. Okay, so $4,950 for the max limit, $846 for the balance. Okay, so you have a total utilization of 17%. All right, that's the total utilization. So you want to get this down to 10%. So this is an easy equation. Okay, so literally all you're going to want to do is go ahead and get a calculator out. You'll take this number right here, so 4,950. Okay, and then get in your calculator, and then you'll hit times 0.10. Okay, for 10%. And whatever that number is for the balance, that's what you need to bring your balances down to be at 10%. It's a very easy equation. And if you want to get down to 5%, which is very optimal as well, then you go 0.05. So literally whatever you want to get it down to, you just do that formula. Okay, so 10% 0.10, 5% 0.05. You want to get it down to 2% or 1%, that's the lowest I would go, is 1%, is 0.01 for the 1%. Okay, so it's an easy equation, guys. It's not too hard, but I know a lot of times people get confused on all of these things in terms of like the utilization. Now, again, I know a lot of times people think like, man, this is just too much. I don't have time for none of this. Listen, if you want us to do all of this stuff for you and build all of this out for you so you don't have to worry about it, and you want to invest into a solution, you can click the link in the description. You can book a call with us, and we can kind of see if we can help you and work with you one-on-one to get all this done and get your business funded. But going on to the next situation here. So this is what we like to call an optimal credit report. Now the score, this is where everybody gets tripped up. Don't focus on the score too much, ladies and gentlemen. All 770s or 800 credit scores aren't made equal. Now this person has a fantastic credit report, and this is good for optimal funding here, but you don't need like 10 years in length of history. I know sometimes people see this and they're like, oh, well, I don't have 74 accounts. You don't need 74 accounts. This is just an example here. So the FICO score 774, total accounts, this is 74. This is very good. They got many different ways of showing that they can manage credit and manage debt, right? Length of credit is 10 years. You don't need 10 years. I would say the sweet spot is like 4 to 5. 2 is probably the lowest you want to be if you want to be kind of, in a good position to get business funding. Some banks will do as low as 1 year, but 2 years is when you're kind of good to go, so to speak there. Increase. This is a very important thing here. So increase is how the banks think you're thirsty for credit. Okay. So you want to make sure that you don't have more than really like 3 increase in the last 3 months. Okay. So it's not the total amount of increase. People get confused with that. You can maybe have 12 increase, but if you haven't had any in the last 3 months, you're good to go. So it's the last 3 months is what they're looking for there. And then, utilization, 3%, that's very good. Going off the formula that we just talked about, they're well under 10%. So that's fantastic. And then with the increase as well, that goes for new accounts. So if you have less than 3 new accounts in the last 3 months, that's good also too. That they factor that in as well. And then missed payments. Okay, 0. That's what we want. All right. And this person doesn't have any derogatories on their credit report either. No collections and anything like that. So another thing you want to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen, is the FICO scoring model. So this is FICO 8, which at the making of this video is what banks typically are pulling right now. Now you do have some banks, like Wells Fargo, for example, they pull FICO 9, right? And we have FICO 10, FICO 10T, a lot of these different FICO scoring models out. So this information could change. But right now, most banks still are pulling FICO 8. So this is kind of what you want to focus on for the most part. All right, step 2 is a verified structure framework. So you might be wondering, like, what does this mean? Now, remember how I said the banks won't tell you their process? Well, we have a way to beat it. I know I'm not the only person that hates to feel nervous, anxious, or unprepared walking into a bank, and you literally shouldn't have to. That's because you should know exactly what the banks want, what scores they want to see, and how your profile should be optimized before you even walk in. All right. And I'm going to show you guys how to get this done and how to make sure you're on point. So you may be wondering what this is. This is a NAT code. Okay. Very, very important. I know some of you guys may have already heard this before, but this is extremely important. So as we see here, looking at this chart, this is all the industries that a bank could code your business into. Now, the reason this is important is because there are what's called high-risk industries that banks don't like to touch, right? Trucking is one of them. Anything in the cannabis industry, adult entertainment. I could just go on and on. There's a bunch of them, but you don't want to real estate's another one too. So you don't want to kind of be in categorized in one of these industries. So you need to make sure with your NAT code that it's not in a high risk industry. Okay, I'm telling you guys, it's really real. Like there's some. I'll give you an example. Like Truist, they like just as recently as a couple weeks ago, they've been automatically denying anything that's in real estate. So that's something that you guys want to make sure with these NAT codes, that you're not in a high risk industry. You want to be in a safe industry. Okay, so that's something that you want to make sure you have on point as well. Now, getting to the utilization. All right, so utilization is important on both sides. Okay, a lot of times people get this confused. They'll focus on the personal, get that under 10%. But if you already have business funding and those cards are maxed out, you're gonna get denials, because guess what? Banks are pulling from personal and business credit these days. Okay, so again, like I was saying earlier, I'm not saying that business credit isn't important. It is, and you're just killing two birds with one stone, so to speak, because you're able to build up, you're building up your personal credit, which, if you're already there, then you're good, but you're going to build up your business credit at the same time as you actually getting business funding to go ahead and start, scale, or grow your business. So, right here are the 4 major business credit scores. So we got Doesnt, which is a PEDX score, Experian, and then we have Equifax Business, and then we have FICO, which is a liquid credit, SBSS. Okay. And then you have the Small Business Financial Exchange as well. That's another big one that I'll tell you guys also. Really, what we want to focus here on the business side is your utilization. Obviously, you don't want to have any like UCC filings or anything like that. That needs to be clean. I'm going to have a link in the description if you guys want to sign up for NAV, and you'll be able to go ahead and, look at your business credit reports there also. All right, so this is the complete business structure right here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so business docs, right? So when I say business doc, this is what I mean when I say this. So you want to make sure you have all your documents, so your articles of organization, operating agreement. Okay, a lot of people don't have one of those. You want to set that up. It's really easy. You can go on Google and search up operating agreement layout and get a template and fill in the blanks from there. All right, business website. This is very important as well. Now, what this doesn't mean is you need to go pay somebody, graphic designer or a website developer, $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 to build some fancy website. I don't recommend you do that, especially if a startup, or if you're a startup. A lot of startups do that often, and it's not a good idea if you haven't proven your concept. So you literally can go to like Wix or WordPress and get you like a super simple template website set up in like 10 minutes. And, you don't need something fancy. They're just looking to make sure that you're legit. That's all the banks are looking for in terms of funding. Business phone number. So, you can have a 1-800 number, something like that, or you can do, Google Voice works too as well. I know sometimes people say that doesn't work. I haven't had any problems with it. A lot of people in our mentorship use Google Voice as well, when they're applying for funding, and they haven't had any issues there. So, if you want to get a 1-800 number, that works well. Or if you want to just go get like another real number from like one of these carriers like Sprint, AT&T, anything like that, T-Mobile, then you can do something like that as well. But again, don't just have your personal phone number there. You don't want to do that. That's not a business phone number. Then this one is really important as well. Only optimized credit profile with 25% plus. Now, what this means right here is if you have business partners, okay, and a lot of times people will have business partners, so they have their spouse on there, significant other, they got the kids on the business, whatever. Anybody that's above 25% ownership will have to be on the application when you're applying for a business bank account, you're applying for business funding, anything like that. So if their credit is not in order, you don't want to have them on there. Okay. So, this is something that you want to think about too. So if you got a spouse, the credit's not good, or, the kids or whatever, you got to either take them off temporarily, or you got to move them down to under 10% ownership of the business, so you don't run into a problem. Because I've seen a lot of people have hiccups right here, and they just, it doesn't go well. Okay. So the next one is, we talked about this a little bit earlier, no red flag business names. Okay. So if you're, I see this so many times, like with real estate, they'll have anything that gives away real estate in their business name, and you don't want that. Okay. So just think about, you want to have your business name as generic as possible. You don't really need for anybody to just automatically know what you do based off the LLC name or the S Corp or C Corp name, and not how it works. And then, like I said earlier from the last slide, any previous business funding utilization needs to be low. Now, it doesn't need to be like 10% low, like how the personal side is, but you want to have at least under 30%, I would say, to be on the safe side. All right. So step 3, build strategic banking relationships. All right. So banking, and this goes for regional banks, credit unions, big banks, doesn't matter. Right. A lot of these banks are moving toward relationship-based banking. So you want to make sure that you can establish these things. All right. This is very, very important. All right. So definitely wasn't going to leave y'all without giving y'all some type of funding play that you can run right now. So if you're kind of a person that's ready to go, you got everything in order, you're good, then this is what you can do. Okay. This is a bank called West Banco. This is a regional bank. All right. Now I'm going to show you how you can use them to go ahead and get a business credit card and a line of credit. Now, some quick data points on West Banco. Okay, it is a regional bank, so it's not everywhere. All right, I'm gonna list the states that it's in on the screen right now, so you guys know. But with this bank, if you have at least a year in business, you'll be able to go ahead and get a line of credit with them. Okay, you can apply for a line of credit, and as you see here, again, I like to say this, it's not just me just saying this, is they saying it right here on their website. Credit score based approval. So what does that mean? Typically no docs, right? And when we say no docs, that means no financial documents. So no tax returns, no bank statements, any financial docs like that. It's also unsecured, which is very important. Now, if you apply for this online at the making of this video, they'll pull Experian. But if you go into the branch, they're going to pull a TransUnion. So that's something that you want to know. All right. But again, this is a line of credit. You can get anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 on the loan amount. You know, no docs, as long as you have a year in business. You do have to have a business bank account with them first. However, to do this in person or online, either or, you got to have a business bank account first. So that's something you want to set up initially, and then you'll be able to have access to something like this, getting a line of credit. But this is kind of stuff you can do when you can, you know, you got the credit profile, everything's optimized, and everything's lined up. And guys, this is exactly the strategy. This is exactly what I did. I went and found banks like this. You know, based on your region and stuff like that, you find banks like this that you can get funding from. Okay. And the trick is this, they're pulling from different bureaus here. Okay. So you want to find out what banks pull from what bureaus. That's why it's called ethically hacking the bank, because you're finding out what banks pull from different bureaus, and then you build a strategy based off of that. Now, also with West Banco, they do have some other products. I want to just touch on the business credit cards really quickly here. They do have some business credit cards as well. Now, the thing with their business credit cards is this: they're not underwritten by West Banco. They're underwritten by a company called, or a bank called, Elan Financial. Now, Elan Financial underwrites a bunch of these small regional credit unions as well. So that's something you want to be on the lookout for. If you are, you know, thinking, hey, I got like 5 credit unions, they all different banks, but Elan Financial is underwriting all of them. It's all going to the same desk. All right. So I see a lot of people get tripped up with that too. You want to make sure if it's Elan Financial, hey, it's going to the same desk. You only can do that really one to maybe 2 times tops. Now, listen, if you are a business owner and you already have a 680 credit score, you've been trying to figure this out on your own, but you're getting stuck, or you just don't have time to map all this out, or you're nervous, you're scared, you don't want to mess up your good credit, you want to do it right the first time, go ahead and click the link in the description. You can go ahead and book a call with us. We'll get on a call with you, see what's been going on, see if there's any room for us to partner together to work with you one-on-one. We'll do all of this for you, build you a custom funding strategy, and get your business funded without you having to, you know, figure out all this stuff on your own. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and smash that like button if you enjoyed the video today. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications so you will be notified every time I drop a new video. Now, if you want to see some more business credit cards that you can get your hands on today, if you're ready, then go ahead and click the video that you see on the screen right now. This is a video I just did where I went over the best business credit cards you can get in 2024. So go ahead and click that video, and I'll see you in now.